Recording is now in progress. Okay. Hello. Good morning, Health Patriot Nation. I'm gonna start with this actually. I am going to tell you guys what we're gonna talk about on our training calls this month. I thought about renaming them like team trainings. One of the things that I walked away, and I can't remember where I heard this from Summit. I think it was in my leadership breakout, but it was to stop doing trainings like teaching, which I love teaching and I could talk all day. You all know that, like for too long. To stop doing that and start doing more implementing and doing things together versus me just talking at you or any of us just consuming information, because it's the biggest trap, especially when you start the business, is you end up consuming a lot of information and you get overwhelmed and then you don't do anything because you're not taking action, your business isn't growing, and then you feel discouraged, and then the self-doubt starts seeping in, especially as time goes, because you're not growing your business, blah, blah, blah. So with that in mind, today we're going to do, like I mentioned, our summit recap really quick. And then we are going to all craft our own story using a 3-step process, which some of you may be already doing, but it's good to do it again for practice. And I want to have this recording to share with any of your partners or new people who come into the business, because they're all going to need help doing this, learning how to share their story. So we're going to do that today. Next week, we are going to talk about what to do when someone's interested, because I know that's where a lot of us get stuck, even still to this day. For me, like I have to rethink about not word vomiting all over them and not sending them all these options and all of these resources, because people get overwhelmed and they will stop responding to you. Not because they don't want what you have to offer, but usually we just get so excited and we word vomit all over them. So that's going to be next week, what to do when someone's interested. The third week is going to be developing a marketing plan and making connections. And it's going to be very simple. A marketing plan sounds like a lot, but really we're just going to talk about, we're going to get our calendars out and all of us decide, okay, what value do I want to add to my community? And then we're going to break that down and make it an implementation plan. And then at the tail end of that, we're going to connect with people that will align with our marketing plan and the value that we're adding. So that's going to be the third week. And then the fourth week, we have five calls this month. We have 5 Mondays. The fourth week is going to be how to invite to our boot camps and the business. And we'll walk through some invites, and we'll walk through all of us knowing what to say to people and who we're inviting, and who we're inviting to our boot camps and who we're inviting to our business side. And then the last week will be developing a follow-up habit, and we'll all follow up with people, and it'll flow really well to work for inviting to our August boot camp. So I will put this in a graphic so that you guys have it, but I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up of what's on the horizon. And I'm excited to go through this, all of us together, even though some of you are at the very, very beginning. Others of you have been doing this for years. It doesn't matter. It's still really important to get to the fundamentals and the foundation of our business, because it doesn't matter how pretty your graphics are if we don't know how to invite, right? Or we don't know how to connect. If we don't know how to connect with people, the invites will not happen. They will feel really strange because you don't have anyone that you're connecting with. So yeah, I'm excited about that this month. I'll go first really quick, and then I want to turn it over to you guys and what your top couple takeaways were from Summit. So for me, it was amazing. First of all, having such an amazing presence of our team there. It was so fun getting to spend time with you guys. I think if there's one thing we all have learned over the last year or so, it's that our team definitely thrives off of the community and having time together. And even though it's hard to make happen because we're across the country, it's really amazing and special when we have that time together. So I'm wanting to beef that up more as we continue. Hence our goal of having 50 people at Summit from our team and making it really special next year. Yes, let's go. So, but it was also, I had to do a lot of self-reflection on my own lack of leadership the last couple years in my stages of life. And I don't mean that in any way of like being negative on myself. I'm just being honest with myself and knowing where I have fallen short as a leader in our team and what I want to do to change that. So to be successful in any business, in really in any area, it's so important for us to have energy in it. The two things that I walked away from my leadership breakout sessions were belief and energy are the two most important things to grow your business. But we can apply that to our marriage, like belief in your marriage and energy you put into your marriage. You're gonna like, you guys are the cutest. It's so important, right? Because we will reap what we sow in our belief and our energy in any area of our life, in parenting and in anything. And so this business is no different. As soon as our belief starts to go downhill, everything, it's going to be like walking through sludge to have any kind of wins. If our energy is low because we're either putting it elsewhere or we're just not excited about what we're doing, it's going to be super hard, if not impossible, to be successful, to have any wins. People will feel your belief and your energy. And it's why I was so successful in the beginning of my business, because those things for me were naturally extremely high for quite, like my first 4 years of business. And so as a leader in this team, I think it's something that we all can ask each other, okay, how do we as a community, as a leadership community, increase the belief and the energy in our team and focus on that? So that was my biggest, most important takeaway, as well as collaborations. I've been collaborating almost every day since Summit with Scotty Hobbs. I really respect him, and he's an awesome leader in our Beachbody community, but he's also a great dad and an amazing family man, an amazing husband. And I really respect how he shows up with his character and morals, and is someone that I want to collaborate with. So I have been, did you get an invite for his bod group for the men's?
Yep, I'm in it.
Okay, perfect. He just shared that publicly too. So if there's ever any guys, for all of you, like Krista, if Scott wanted to be invited to that, it's open for any men in body who want to be a part of a positive, inspiring community of men. And he was very honest that they will not allow energy vampires in that group. So if someone's negative, and they'll get kicked out, which I think is amazing. So yeah, we're going to have some different collaborations starting to happen in our team from other coaches who I've learned a lot from, and who I know could be able to add a lot to our team. So those were my top takeaways from Summit. Who would like to go next? Bendra, your turn.
I was like, I'm calling us out first. But I'm going to go first because I want to. Okay. So without making it like super lengthy.
She has like pages here, y'all.
These are my notes. Okay. So my number one takeaway is that stories are powerful. And I really enjoyed hearing like some of the stories within our team. Like some of us got to talk and share stories with each other, and so I really liked that. And then at like general session and celebration night, the stories that everybody told of like how body has changed their life and just what it's done for them, I just thought that was like a really powerful thing. Plus, I mean, Kendra Hall preaches on storytelling, and so it's like stories are powerful. They just are. My next thing was like how amazing community is. Like we have community like on our virtual gym and on the screen, but in person, it like, I feel like it enhanced it by like a lot. And so it was just like, I don't know, it was really great to feel like you were, I don't know, a part of something bigger, I guess, even though it is big, like on the screen, but when you're in person, it just seems bigger. And then the last thing was what difference it makes being surrounded by so many like-minded people, because a lot of our family is not as goal oriented as we are, I guess. And a lot of them like have a lot of health issues that they don't really take action to like try to, feel better or anything. But then they come to us and they're talking to us about all these things and we try to help and then they don't listen. So it's like a whole thing. But so just being surrounded by so many like-minded people was really like uplifting and encouraging and
Refreshing.
yeah, refreshing. It was so refreshing being around so many people who just felt the same way and had similar goals and just, I guess, really kind of understood like the importance of health and movement and all the things. So I think that was about everything I had.
You sure?
Those are my notes. Yes.
I love it.
Whole page, but I 3 little to the point things.
Your turn, Ben.
Jeez. So I'll touch up on a couple things. What's funny is she said that, and she was feeling like there was something bigger. And I actually put belief in something bigger is one thing that I got out of it. And that kind of comes along with the confidence. And one thing that I saw there was so much confidence. And I think Sarah Stoy touched on this, and one of her stories was what?
Just asking your throat.
Timeout from the game. Game on. Thank you.
Go ahead.
But no, she touched on, the confidence and seeing so many different people in their own skin and, how she was like, oh, I could wear a crop top or I could wear, shorts and whatnot. And I absolutely love that. And another big thing was seeing Brooke on that stage for the Health Esteem Parade. That was amazing. It's a big accomplishment. And I've only just met y'all, but I felt so close, like we've known each other for years, so that's a big thing for me is to be able to come on to a crew like this and just feel so welcome. That was huge. So that's one. The workouts were amazing. That was so much fun, even though we had 2 hours of sleep, it felt like each day. So, but they kept the energy going. Super cool time. I think you touched on it, didn't you? Christina Delgado. That chick came out and was on fire when she talked to us. The rest of the stuff was okay, but when she came out, it was like, okay, we're down to the point, like this is what's happening. What are you going to do? And the first thing that I said, I'm going to be a 2-star diamond. That's the first thing that came out, right? You know what I mean? It lit a fire in me. And I know that I'll probably start slow. That's why I'm being consistent on my stories. I'm showing what I'm doing. And I'm just going little steps at a time. And it'll eventually catch on. I have high expectations, but I don't want to be in a place where I'm like, oh, well, I'm not talking to 20 people, today. So why am I not doing nothing? I don't want to get ahead of myself. I know that it's a long-term game, but I am fired up about it. So those were just a couple of my takeaways from that weekend or that weekend.
I know.
Weekend.
Whole week was wild.
Just one blur of a day, multiple hours. I'll be totally honest, Ben, I had no idea you had any interest in working this business side. And then I met you and you were like all about it. And I'm like, yeah, Ben, let's go, Ben. You were like our bodyguard protector. You were so tall. And so it made it really helpful. Like, oh, I see Ben, there's everybody. And I'll be honest with you, it's so cool how getting new people, adding new people to an organization, how much it makes a positive impact. I talked to Scotty about you, and you are the reason why he's now growing a bigger men's group with Body, because I was telling him about you and your goals of being 2-star and how you're really excited about it and you want to have more men present. And there's actually going to now, Scotty and I were talking about having a men's event before Summit for
That's cool.
men partners at Body to get together and link arms with each other, since it is a minority. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So he's already reserved a place and he just announced it today. So all because of you
That's
coming,
awesome.
you were like the needle, you know, like when people have these ideas of doing things, but when you feel alone in it in your own head or in your own thoughts, but when other people come alongside and like inspire that and encourage that direction, it's so cool to see what happens. So I cannot wait to see you walk across that stage and wave that flag. You'll be the tallest one out there for sure.
Oh, I've got a whole ensemble ready
Yes.
to pick out for it, because I don't know. Should I tell them the name that I want to come up for my team?
Yes, please do.
All right. So my team name is inspired by my PlayStation handle. Okay. I have a buff Sonic. Okay. So if you can imagine Sonic the Hedgehog buff. Okay.
All right.
Team Bro Team.
Bro teen?
Bro Team, like protein, but it's
Like
team bro.
protein. But protein. Stop it. That's amazing. Wow. I don't even know what to say. That's
I think we came up with that on the way home from Summit. I was
We
like,
did.
that would be perfect.
Because it's
Using that
Sonic
one.
Protein is my PlayStation name, and then we're just like, we'll just take that out.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's a bunch of dudes, so it's like, what's up, bro? You like protein? I like protein. Protein.
Let's go.
oh my gosh. And then you're drinking your Shakeology, and that's so easy to talk about. This is my protein. What about you? I love it.
That's
Oh
so
my gosh, that's amazing. Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing. So rad. Okay, who's next? I'm gonna unmute some of you. Go, James.
Can you hear me? I have these. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I don't ever use this, but my family's having like life conversations. So, okay. So, summit, I will tell you, it's my technically third summit. We had Coeur d'Alene, our own team summit. And then last year, there was only 5 of us. And I will say that the energy with more people at Summit on your team, it's okay to be by yourself there. I saw plenty of people that didn't have a team with them and they were just rocking their independence there. But there was a lot more fun that was had. Now, Krista and I laughed a heck of a lot last year, but that was like personal fun, like in our hotel room, that I can't share. But so as a team, the energy, I love that. I love that we came back from Summit as a larger group and we've already doubled how many people are going to come to Summit. And that is huge for me. Community is something that I love. And so it just kind of ignites that fire of like, we have to have community regardless of who's getting on my party bus. Cause I'm calling it a party bus now. I don't know what happened. I just walk at the track with my daughter now and I'm like, get on my party bus. It's not really a party bus, but our bus is amazing. And so why wouldn't we want people on it? And so I'm very excited about next year's summit. 100% honesty, I wasn't going to go. So I'm going now. So that whole peer pressure thing, like it's real life. And then also when you start to build your downline and then they buy tickets before you do, you're like, oh shoot, like I have to go now, which is not a bad thing. But I definitely was not going to come. Because I was a little sad that I wasn't going to get to experience a new city, if I'm being honest. There is part of this company that I would have not traveled by myself without my family. And so it's now my second year doing it. And so I get really excited about going places now. I love my family with my whole heart, even when they're having these conversations in front of me. But so it was just the energy in the community and I love it. So that was my first takeaway. Second was we talk about energy and belief. And I have followed Erin Hopkins for the entire time that I've been a partner with Body. And the one thing that Erin has always had is energy and belief. It's never wavered. If you followed her at her heaviest weight, it didn't waver. She can put on weight and fall off her nutrition plan, and her health journey has really shifted throughout the years that I've watched her, but her energy and belief has never changed. And so it just kind of showed me, because I'm currently in a part of my health journey that is not like, I'm not my biggest fan. And it reminded me that I can't waver from that energy and belief that I've always had, regardless of where I'm at. I still need to basically use like the hard times, but still have that energy and belief. And I think sometimes when we have hard times, our energy goes down and then our belief starts to kind of waver back and forth. And so her energy and belief has never changed. So if you want to be number 4 and get the leadership award on that stage, like you need to have that energy and belief no matter where you're at. And she definitely has that. So that being said, piggybacking off of that, I've listened to many Erin Hawkins trainings, and what she said on the stage as a leader of your team, and when you're trying to have partners come on board, it's hard. It's hard to have growing. It's not like some easy transition from just working on your own health journey to encouraging others to grow a business. It's a different transition. If you're not an entrepreneur, which I'm not, it is something that you have to learn. And she said, you don't want to pull people. You need to push them, but you need to realize when you're pulling them. Mm-hmm. And I think as a natural people pleaser and somebody who wants everybody to win, it's just my personality, like caretaker. Like I just want everybody to come on my party bus, and I want them to grow, and I want them to share, and I want them to do and believe. I want to find the belief for them. We can't do that. So we have to transition from pulling, because that's exhausting. It's kind of been, it's probably one of my biggest Enneagram downfalls is that I want to pull most people in my life to where I'm at. And really what happens is you have failed expectations of that person, and it leads to disappointment. And so you have to shift. And so I need to shift my mindset to pushing my partners and finding partners that want to be pushed and not pulled. Mm-hmm. So that was huge for me. And then a third one, I love the workouts. I feel like everybody wants to come because of those super trainer workouts. And regardless if we stole some space from the number 1 team, just FYI, oops, we stole some space from that team. And there was a lot of negative energy around us when we started our workout. I'm freaking proud of the girls in the back of our little, you guys, it was probably like, you may have seen it if you walked over to where we were before I bailed out, but it was this little tiny space, and the girls in the back held it down and did not let the negative energy behind them suck them in. And I'm really proud of you guys, because it's not about that. And I want also those other teams, like you have to realize we are a community. I know that you want your 4 feet of space, but it's not going to happen. There's 10,000 people trying to work out in the streets. So I just loved our team for just sticking it out and not letting that suck them down. I felt it and it started to suck me in, and I'm a people pleaser. So then I kept trying to scoot over, and I really just loved my girl, Jennifer. I don't know. She didn't care. She was like, this is my space and I'm going to take it. It's like, whatever, we're all here. Like we all paid to be on this little 2 square feet of street. So I don't know. I just loved I love that energy at the super workout and our team. I was proud of you guys for not letting the negative energy around you suck you in.
So good. So good. Krista, you want to go?
Sorry, trying to find the button. I'm just like taking in this whole meeting still. So
Okay.
I'm actually sitting here because when we're done, I like am finally going to calibrate my bike and like finally get my stuff together. Gosh, so much of what Jamie said, totally agree with that. I love even like Kendra and Ben, like I feel like what you guys explained is very much how I felt last year. And this is recording, so I'm going to try to keep my crap together, but I think honestly, I came to this one in a very different place. I almost bailed out a couple of times before this year, just because physically I was afraid it would set me back. And so I think some of those takeaways were like, just getting over the mental challenge of like, should I go to the Joel workout or not? And then going with you guys and having like the best time, and remembering that you can like pause and you can modify, but we had the best time, and some of my favorite pictures kind of even came out of that. So I And then, the super workout, totally what Jamie said. And just for me to enter into that was a really big overcoming moment. So one big takeaway was, I think maybe Carl said it in a general session. To be honest, I feel like I came in with such the mental challenge that it was really hard to be all there. And then of course, as you guys know, like trauma drama happening by lunch on Saturday just was so much. But so those takeaways, the thing that I heard him say was like, what is meaningful to you? And I think the company, as it's gone through this shift, and as we all know, there's something new every month, and there's all these things all the time, that we can start chasing it instead of letting it be, where he was like, what's important to you, do that and share that, and kind of coming back to that. If it's a particular workout that's not the block that month, do it. If it's nutrition, do that. So it really kind of brought that back. And it's like you said, Jessica, some self-reflection on what is that? Like today, I honestly feel like is the first down day after we got back, and all my dog drama. And so just reevaluating that, like what is important, and what do we want this looking like, and what do we want to bring with us forward into this team. And so the energy and all of us, more people being there, definitely for sure was really exciting. And then I think just the second takeaway was, even though that drama happening wasn't something I wanted, but you guys were there. And there was just so many moments where it was like, we are, yes, a team on screens. And like you said, Jessica, like we can start to just kind of, the belief goes down of like, well, they're all over the country and they don't really know my life and whatever, And so even though like we're together, sometimes it can feel like we're not. But being together made me realize that our hearts are, because we all have a lot of the same goals. And we might be in the same, like I know Jamie and I've related lately, where we're in the same kind of journey and healing. And it did have me back out for a long time. So it's where and how do I enter in again? But being there with everybody and the belief, and then just knowing, like, and I was able to share that with my sons, like, we're dressed up, we're in an arena, and you know what? You can just like fall apart, and your friends that are friends are going to be there for you. And so that, in a weird way, was a good takeaway, and then everybody checking in that week, because last week was really, really hard. And so I just am starting new rhythms, like in my whole life. Like I took a walk this morning, trying to figure out how to take a walk by myself without a leash, like it's so bizarre, like such a huge shift. Like time of parenting is like changed, and like in so many ways, it's like all these distractions are different. So yeah, it was a really interesting, weird transition for me, like to be there that weekend and all these things happening. So I'm still sort of evaluating and like, okay, how to move forward. And again, not to start chasing it, but to have genuine excitement. When we talk about excitement and belief, or energy and belief, making sure that it's from within, and that it's not like an external, that it doesn't start pushing us in a bad way, where then it becomes really not as authentic. And so wanting to have that genuine energy and belief coming out of a really hard, weird transition week.
Weird down to you getting stuck in an elevator, like the most random, weird, awful things.
I took a video of it. I forgot to share it with you guys, like the little fingers coming through the door when you heard voices.
And then getting a nail in your tire.
Yeah, they don't know
Way
that.
to go bury your dog.
Yeah, we got a flat tire on the freeway, like right in the middle of the freeway on the way there. It was like, it was just, yeah. And it challenged me back to that thinking of just, I mean, my team name is Anchored to Arise, and being anchored without distraction in the word and in the Lord, in order to arise out of these things. And so
I love that.
But yeah, a lot of people have commented on, the fun, like they've seen now the fun that we had. And so that's exciting. I think we all have that to share together, which is cool.
Yeah. I love what you said too. It's such a tangible thing to be able to relate to, probably for all of us, of sharing from what's genuinely authentic for you, like what's good for you in your journey right then versus what everyone else is doing, and feeling like you have to force yourself to want to do what everyone else is doing. Because, and I've fallen into that so many times, so many times. And that was the Beachbody culture a couple years ago. It was that, and it was way too much and way overwhelming, and it wasn't sustainable. So I was really thankful to hear Carl say that too. And that's why it works for all of us, because we are all a little bit different at different stages with different, like we're all different. That's how God made us different. Right. And it works so well when we are authentic to that. So I love that. Thank you for
It's a
sharing.
very valuable statement that you made, because I think some of the driving probably drove me towards pushing me to where I got, so I think it's a good culture that's coming.
Brooke, would you like to close us out for our summit recap? Oh no, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear her? Wait.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Let's try and anyways. I know I was thinking about it and I was like, I think I almost sort of built up like Summit in my head. And not that it was like, there was just some like weird moments for me. And we had kind of talked beforehand too about like the last Summit that was messing with my brain. But yeah, I'm trying now. I should have written this down because now I'm trying to think of what I was going to say. Oh, my biggest thing I would say is like being confident on social media and like talking in my stories. Like I actually hate doing that, which is why I never do it. And so I've really been trying to like talk every day, even if it's just a little clip. And so I'm really trying to just get out of my own way and out of my own comfort zone with that. And Bryce made me laugh. He's like, you talk to children all day long and teach them you can talk to a screen. Like, but it's different. The children love me unconditionally. Adults are different.
No adult in your group hates you, psycho.
See my voice of reason over there.
Love it. Way to go, Bryce.
Woo-woo!
Behind the scenes body, bro.
I love it.
But yeah, so that would be probably my biggest takeaway is like just having confidence to like show up in a different way on social media. Because I will say I have, still, even with all of my like hormone issues that I've been having, still been trying to, still been working out, trying to work through this new weird nutrition mental block that I'm having. So just and it kind of got me excited to want to invite people to the business side, but I feel like I'm still not quite sure like how I want to do that or how to present it without being weird. Like if that makes sense. So I'm excited to just try some new things and see what works for me. And then of course I just loved like the community aspect. It was so fun and great. But yeah, I would say, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I think because I built it up in my head, like I wanted it to be so great because the last one was not. I don't know. I feel like I didn't come away with anything like so amazing, but it was like amazing in and of itself, if that makes sense.
I think that the sessions from other people I've heard as well, like especially the one that you were in, was not great.
That could
Just-
part of the reason why it might have been a little. I will say, see, Kendra's laughing because she knows. We had our own fun in the sessions, which is where Bendra became a thing because I was so delirious. I'm trying to say Kendra and Ben at the same time. And I said Bendra and everyone started laughing. I said, well, now that's your name.
Now
You're
it's a
just
thing.
Bendra.
I love it.
So you're Bendra. So there's that. Yeah. So I will say that was probably my favorite part was just the community and like all the silly like laughs and jokes that we had. And yeah.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Also really loved getting to be a part of you walking across that stage because that was super cool.
Yes. That was very cool.
That was
That
honestly
was actually
Go ahead.
Oh, no, you can finish.
I was just gonna say it ended up really a lot cooler than I thought it was gonna be,
Yeah.
for sure. Like the energy in that room was awesome.
Yeah. Especially because we had no idea what was happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't
I'm all, my like spreadsheet self was like dying every day. I'm all, why is there no information? What is happening?
Oh, so
But I will say probably the other thing I kind of took away is like, even though I'm okay with like posting things on social media for whatever reason about my weight loss, but like seeing people in person, I like don't like to share for whatever reason. Like I feel like I'm being like braggy or like, oh, like I don't know what it is. It's just some weird thing. And so it was kind of funny, like actually walking around with that sign with those balloons, like actually like helped me be like, it's okay to say you've lost 120 pounds.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. You're not bragging.
No.
That's amazing. Like you can tell people it's fine. Like, and I don't know why I like in my head was like, oh, like you can post it, but like, you know, I don't know. It was weird.
it's a good pay attention to those things.
Right. My hype squad. That's my favorite picture.
I literally look like a lion. Like I didn't know my mouth opened that big until I saw that picture. Like you can see my missing tonsils from that picture. We're so excited.
But I love it.
So good. Oh my gosh. No, I think it's important for all of us because we all have those moments where we're like, oh, subconsciously think we shouldn't do something or that we're bugging people or that whatever. And it limits us. But how many people stopped you and said, can I take a picture with you? That's so amazing. That's so
I
inspiring.
know.
Because you shared, that inspires so many other people. And because someone else shared their story, that's what inspired you to do it in the
Mhm.
first place, right? And so,
Right.
and so powerful. So powerful. I love it. On that note, we've got 15 minutes left and let's write some stories. Yeah. I want to walk you guys through, I know I've shared this I think all of you at some point, but the framework for sharing your story. So whether you're brand new and you are just starting to share with people like, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going, you should do it with me. Or if you're like me and you've been doing this for 7.5 years and you've shared your story many, many, many times, the best social media advice I've ever gotten is that the only person who sees 100% of what you share on social media is you. That's it. Most people see it's like 3% of what you share on social media, which is why we have to be consistent and share different angles and lenses and views and pieces of our story. So the framework that I want to show you that's very easy that you can use multiple times and you can share it with anyone else who's learning is you start with where you were. So when you first started or when you're telling a story where you were in that moment, but it's somewhere in the past and you're identifying a problem or a struggle. So I remember when Brooke, I'll just use you because we've talked about your story many times. I remember when I first saw the pictures from our first professional photo shoot, right? Or I remember getting in the airplane. I know you've shared this story. I remember getting in the airplane on the way to Coeur d'Alene and how I felt. Or Krista sharing, you have like, I remember going through chemo treatments and there I was. I remember when I only weighed 100 pounds and this is how I felt. Bendra, you guys, what's an example of something in your guys' story where you had a moment that you, looking back, it was kind of a pivotal moment or a place where you were really struggling or you realized you needed to change something?
Mine was probably in my recent before and during photos that I've shared when I knew how I was feeling, like my body was hurting and I was achy and I just felt swollen and I was exhausted and I was moody and like all these things. And I remember taking that picture and being like, I literally look like death. Like I look so sick. And like it was because you always like hear so many people are like, you have to, when you're really tired of feeling that way, that's whenever something is going to actually change. And I looked at that and I've said no, today's the day. Like, this is the time. I'm going to change right now. And then a week later, down the hill I would go, and like, I was like, I have to, like, this, I can't keep doing this. And I think it finally registered in my head that this was a very unhealthy cycle that I was living in, constantly doing this over and over. And I was like, no, I was like, I'm officially done. Like, I can't do this. Like, this is not being a good, like, wife, not being a good mom. Like, this, it's not nice to myself, like, to keep doing all these things that I know that I shouldn't be doing. And then I was just like, okay. And then haven't looked back since.
Mine, I like to show people this picture.
Wow.
The difference of when you're in a place in your life where you're not happy, you're stressed out, you don't like where you are in life, and you're around people that are not like-minded. They joke around in their way.
Mostly from his job.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw that.
Yeah,
Like,
not
not having
yeah,
why
in the job.
just getting on my nerves. No.
Yeah,
I just want to throw that out there.
no, yeah, it was my job at the time. I was, at a computer almost 8 hours a day sometimes because we didn't have a lot of work. And I'm the type that is go, go, go. I need to be hands-on, working, doing stuff. And just the atmosphere that they had there just did not fit with me. And I just let it really sink in. And I think the biggest problem was that most of these people I considered my friends. We went to church with them. I worked with them. And we just started slowly seeing piece by piece the real side of them coming out. And it just, I'm a Cancer. So, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Hey, you stop it. And she knows all about it. She's like, show your emotions and whatnot, But but that's the thing about me is I've got a big heart, and whenever friends of mine, they don't act like friends, it really gets at me, and I let it sink in. I don't let go of things. I let them just stay in. And so that's where that picture came from. And once I made the decision to leave there and go to a different job, that was the difference. And that was the time where I was like, I got to change, because before then I didn't think nothing of it. But when I saw the difference in that picture, I was like, that was me. Yeah, it's like that's not Ben. That's not who I want to be. Especially, like we've talked, I think we talked to a couple people, but cancer runs in my family. All my uncles, I think a couple of my aunts have passed from cancer. My dad has survived twice. So I am really working hard to not be in that same position because, they say it's hereditary, and some of that might be true, but I do think a lot of it comes from nutrition, which is one of the things that I suffer with. And so I've been trying to be better. And this past week, from the whole trip, going straight the next day to Cincinnati, I started using the 2B mindset tracker, and I did, I think, 95% better than I have before. So baby steps.
He was eating grapes and
I ate
watermelon,
grapes.
and he doesn't eat that stuff.
I don't.
Ew. That's so rad. So this is a perfect example of how in crafting a story like it to share as a post, because let's remember, social media, we do marketing. And you can do marketing anywhere, but it's a free platform. So you can do this in an email as well. But to use your first line of your story should grab people's attention, because 95% of people will decide to read it or not by your first line. And so using starters, we talked about this a little bit at Summit, but using starters such as there I was, I remember when, imagine, or you just said something, Ben, I'll be honest. People want honest, people love, it's like why they watch reality TV shows, even though they're not reality. People love honesty and transparency, right? And so I'll just run with Ben what you just shared. Like, you could say something like, I'll be honest, I travel a lot for work, and usually this is what my, eating my meals would look like. This is how I felt. This is where I was emotionally. I was not doing this. This is where I was struggling. So that first part of our story is the pain points, the struggle, because that's how we relate with people, because we're being real, because nobody likes to just see people posting kale and six packs because it's unrelatable, right? They want to know where you struggled, that you're a real person. So that's where we start, is where you were, what your pain point was. And then you shift to where you are now. And what made that shift? What made you make that decision to join the boot camp, or to join the team, or to become a partner, or whatever you're talking about, where you are now? This is what has changed for me. So in that example, this is what, how I was feeling usually on my work trips. Here's what just happened. My most recent trip, I ate grapes and watermelon for the first, or whatever, I ate grapes and watermelon for the first time. I'm using this new nutrition program with this tracker, and I'm eating 95% better than I was before. And this is how it's making me feel. And this is how it's affecting my family, or my marriage, or my energy, or my happiness. And then you share your transformation in that second part, in that second element. And then the third part is where you're going. They had shared at some, again, I can't remember where it was, but they shared something that, be a leader that's going somewhere. People follow you on social media for a reason. It's because you're giving them value or inspiration, or you should be. That's why people follow you, or they relate with you. And so be someone who's going somewhere and invite people to come with you. So this is where I was, this is what I struggled with, this is where I'm at now, this is what I've learned, this is how my life is getting better. And I'm so excited about it. I can't keep it to myself. So this is where I'm going with it. So it could be every month we're doing these 21-day boot camps to keep us focused on, bettering ourselves 21 days at a time. The journey never ends, but these focus groups are really helpful to track our progress and keep things fun and motivating, and encouraging. I would love to have 5 friends do this with me this month. And then you can, if it flows naturally, you insert an invite at the end, because you're not just sharing your story because you just like to talk about yourself. I know all of you, and none of you like to do that. You're sharing it because you want to help other people. And story is how we do that. We identify with them, we make their struggle relatable so that they don't feel isolated when they're on this stupid little app comparing themselves to everyone, because that's what everybody's doing. So you're looking and talking to the people who are sitting by themselves, or the mom that's super overwhelmed, or the teacher that's super overwhelmed right now, feeling like she's lost all hope, has no idea how to take care of herself, even though she knows she needs to, or he knows that he needs to show up to be a better dad and a better husband, but he's exhausted and he's burnt out, and he doesn't know how, as a caretaker, to take care of himself when all he's focused on is providing. Right? So get very clear on who you're speaking to when you're writing your story. And then at the end, make a place for them to go with you. That's what invite is making space for people to know that our doors are always open for you. I'm staying consistent and sharing this, not for myself, but also for you, because I want you to know I believe in you, and I would love to do this with you, and we could keep each other accountable. So it's really a simple 3-step structure, 3-part, whatever. I don't know what words are right now, but where you were, where you are now, and where you're going. And you can share that and you can use that every single day. One day you could talk about your fitness journey. Another day you could talk about your nutrition journey. I'll do this with coaching, or, oh my gosh, the business side. It'll take me 17 years to get that out of my brain to not say coaching. I will never forget the day that I held my son in my arms for the first time, my first baby. It was the first time that I realized I didn't want to be a work outside the home mom. I always was very driven in my career, and I always wanted to excel at everything that I did. I never wanted to work from home until I had a baby and realized I never want to leave you ever, ever again. And it was in that moment that I started realizing I had to find another way. And I started Googling work from home RN jobs. and there was nothing. And then I saw this random chicks before and after pictures pop up while I was on the couch with a horrible back pain, just being diagnosed with a degenerative disc in my low back, realizing in 3 months I was going to have to go back to work in a prison. And in that moment, I reached out to this random stranger and said, like, hey, I want to do your program. I can do it from home. I have no time for this business thing. But in the back of my head, even though I said that, I knew this could be the thing that maybe provided some income so I could stay home, but I had no idea what I stumbled into. Here I am 7 years later, and that message is what started my health coaching business that funded our ability to be able to move to North Idaho. 2 years in, I was able to come home and be home with my kids. I had another kid, and follow my passion to help people, providing for my family from home. And now my husband was able to shift careers. And while it's been an up and down journey, as every business is, I am forever grateful because this business has shifted the trajectory of my family's life. And now I get to mentor other people who want to learn how to grow a business from home as well. Our doors are always open. If that's something that you want to learn more about doing, I would love to jump on the phone with you and have a phone call. And so that is how you could invite to the business through story, because it's relatable to people, and it's not, did that sound salesy to you guys? Like, did it sound like forced or like I was annoying? No, because genuinely when I'm saying that, I mean it with all of my heart. And I'm not afraid that I'm going to offend people. I'm not afraid that I'm going to come across salesy, because that's not who I am. That's not what I'm about. And this is what's important for you guys. That's not who you are either. And that's not what you're about. I used to tell people, do you walk around afraid that people are going to think you're an 800-pound gorilla? Like, no, obviously not one of you has ever had that thought. Why? Because you're not an 800-pound gorilla. So why do we go around being so, I mean, maybe you are been a little bit closer than the rest of us. But why do we get so stuck in our head and we don't talk to people because we're so afraid that we're going to offend them or that we're going to come across salesy, when that's not who we are? That's not why you're doing this. You're not just trying to make a sale. You're trying to help someone transform their life who are stuck in the same place that you were stuck in at one point. And you just want to help breathe that belief into them. That's what you're doing. And that's what we have to focus on. If we're too focused on the fear part of what we don't want to be, that is who we will be. It's like in baseball psychology, they always teach you when you're up at the plate, don't think like, don't miss. If you think don't miss, you're going to miss. But if you think hit the ball, hit the ball, hit the ball, hit the ball, you are statistically much more likely to hit the ball. If you think don't strike out, that's what you're going to do, because your mind's focusing on what you're saying don't do. We know this, right? Don't think of a pink elephant. What are you going to think of? A pink elephant. We know this, but in our lives, do we apply it? That is what I'm going to leave you with. It is now the top of the hour. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Any questions about that story, like line? Is that helpful for you guys for learning how to like structure any kind of lens of anything that you're sharing? Yeah, good. Okay, awesome. Awesome, guys. You're the best. I'll have this recording up here shortly. I'm excited for next week, and I'm here if you need me. Okay, bye. Bye, Brittany. Brittany, those cookies or whatever they were looked amazing, by the way. I saw Zach showing them off. I didn't know what they were, but I don't know what's happening. I can't hear you. Ask to unmute. I just asked you to unmute.
Am I on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
No.
He's like, did they see the cookies? I'm like, don't do that. It's not the time to. And sorry, I'm like multitasking. I was listening to everybody, but I'm like multitasking right now.
Oh, you're good. Good to see your face.
Yeah, it was good to hear everybody's stories. I never get to make the calls, but I'm like, I'm gonna multitask and make this call.
I love it. I love that you're on. Absolutely. Well, I hope you have a wonderful day. Happy baking.
You too, guys. I know. Side hustle. Another side hustle.
Love it. I love it.
Okay.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, you guys. Bye, everyone.